Hey, everybody, this is Josh McKinney, and I just want to welcome you to episode 5 of the all new Suck Less Saturday, back by popular demand. Actually, it was just back because I had free time to do it. And I'm getting the podcast train going. Things are going good with it. And so the Suck Less Saturday, I think it's here to stay, guys, because I didn't feel like recording today, but in my mind, I had to post. It's a Saturday. Well, it's a Friday for me right now. But just like I told you guys on Thursday, I went and again, I recorded it on Wednesday. I went to Chicago to train. And so what that constitutes for me is like a 5-hour drive there and a 5-hour drive back. And I got 2 training sessions. I was there for about 20 hours and I got 2 really, really tough training sessions and got to teach for like an hour at New Breed. And so it was a really, really fun experience, really good training. I got to train with a bunch of tough guys. I got to train with a bunch of new tough guys I didn't even know. Just awesome experience, but I'm beat up from it. You're training with all new bodies, especially when you're a black belt. People are gonna beat up on you, as they should. And I'm beat up from it. I needed a rest day. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And I think that's where we'll start on it is what is a rest day? Am I allowed to podcast on my rest day? Am I allowed to go to work on my rest day? What does this mean? And so I think just starting from the top, I want to just explain how I've been thinking lately about recovery. Okay. Because we talk about these rest days in jiu-jitsu like they're this sacred, magical thing. Hey, when's the last time you've taken a day off? 2 months. I don't know. What do you mean? When's the last time you took a day? I don't understand what that question means. And I think the reason that there's a lot of struggle, there's a lot of confusion with how people think of rest days is simply because most of us, myself included, I think we look at recovery in general from the wrong perspective. A lot of times it's almost talked about is like, well, if you're going to get good at jiu-jitsu, you have to just destroy your body. And I mean, I talk about that on the podcast because to some extent that is true. Some extent you do have to just get beat up. You do have to destroy your body. You have to train a lot. You have to get a lot of repetition of things, and it can be hard on your body. But how much is too much? Where does recovery fall into getting better at jiu-jitsu? And so I have been more into recovery lately than I probably ever have been as a jiu-jitsu practitioner in my life, because I'm just noticing more at black belt and in the adult division at black belt, people are, everybody is on steroids. Okay. I shouldn't say everybody, that's an absolute. Most people are on steroids, and recovery then is not thought of the same way in jiu-jitsu. You can look up, how often should you train in jiu-jitsu? And some of the top videos are, you should be training hard twice a day. And that's obnoxious. You do not need to be training hard twice a day. Not everybody can do that. Some people can naturally train hard twice a day, but this idea that you should be training hard twice a day and lifting weights on top of that and getting in your cardio, 1, who has enough time to do that? And 2, no one can physically do that. No one is recovering from that. And I think the disconnect here, I think the problem here is just that we don't think about recovery, because some of the best athletes, some of the people that we look to most in jiu-jitsu are not telling us the whole story. They're saying, yes, these are some of the things I do for recovery. These are the things, this is how often I train. But secretly, I am on a product that makes me recover, and you're not on that product. So you can do all those other things, but you are not going to get the same result, just physically speaking, especially versus you on those things, right? And so this episode is coming from somebody who doesn't do steroids. All right. You can look at me and know, yeah, this dude's not on. Look at this guy. And so this is how I've been thinking of it lately. This comes from this book, Effortless. I talk about Greg McKinney. He has two books, and I really like them both, Essentialism and Effortless. And Effortless is a really good book on kind of the position in life that I am in or that I hope to be in soon. And it is where you are really forced to be productive and creative. For example, if I am doing podcasts talking about the same exact thing week in and week out, you guys are going to get bored of it. So I'm always having to look outside and get new things for the podcast. And to do that, to be creative, I have found that it is better sometimes to skip an entire day of working on a podcast, like a Wednesday that I have off, or Wednesday where I just teach at night. It is better for me sometimes, and I can tell just by feeling and experimenting and being really observant about how well I can perform. I have found that some Wednesdays I will work for 8 hours and get like 30 minutes of work done if I had done it on a Thursday after resting on that Wednesday. And just that efficiency alone. And it's just simple things like I will forget to do some things. I will edit things just a little bit off, or the editing will just take me a lot longer than it ever did. Or I'll make big mistakes in the editing and have to redo the entire thing. My day is pretty much like it didn't work out. Like the entire day, I didn't produce anything. And I could have been resting. So I started to just take notice of these days. These have nothing to do with jujitsu, but they have to do with my creativity. And I just went with this idea from Effortless. And the idea is this: do not expend more energy in a day than you have to be recovered for the next day. And he said, and you can break this into weeks. Maybe your week is designed to only expend the amount of energy that you get your 1 day off or your 2 days off a week, and you know how to recover and you know how to rest. And then at the beginning of the next week, you are at 100%. And when you're at 100%, especially in something like jujitsu, I was talking about content creation, but now like to jujitsu with recovery and this idea of being 100%. When you go into the gym and have those days where you are actually recovered, that like day 3 after you're coming back from vacation, where you're still recovered from your vacation, but your body's starting to get movement again, you're starting to realize how to do jujitsu again. On those days, you feel amazing and you beat so many other people. In my argument is that you get better on those days than the days that you feel terrible and you force yourself to go to the gym. Now, you do have to think about mindset too. There is this weird balance of jujitsu where it comes to being smart and being tough. And I think that I don't think that it even is somewhere in the middle where we should all be. It's like this sliding scale that we need to sometimes be able to callous ourselves and say, hey, I need to get through this. Whether in a 30-second round where we are, or 30 seconds left in a round where we are smashed in mount, can I say to myself, can I go from being smart? Because sometimes there is no intelligent escape. This dude is smashing me for 30 seconds. Being smart really doesn't help me in that situation. Being smart probably just says like, hey man, just give up. But being tough doesn't, right? We have to be good at balancing those two out. And that is why, for me personally, I struggle so much with recovery is I go into certain days where I should be at 100%, but I'm not. And I notice it. I feel dead. And instead of just playing designated winner, instead of rolling live, instead of just drilling, instead of rolling live, I go, no, I need to be tough. I'm going to roll live. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's not. Finding that balance, I think, is a personal thing, because for me, that balance changes. Depending now, the balance is more towards toughness and less towards being smart. I'm trying to be as smart as I can during this time, but I am at a time where I'm starting to really get healthy again and be able to train as hard as I did when I was a brown belt. It's crazy to think that for the last 4 years of black belt, I can honestly say that no point has my training been as hard as it was at brown belt. And it's just because of injuries I've had. And that's why I've had to learn to be smart, because I learned to be tough. I think everybody in the Midwest, every Midwest gym I go to, those guys seem to learn how to be tough so well. It's just that other side. It's that other side where it says, hey, maybe my toughness is actually, I'm reaching this point of diminishing returns. And so that was kind of like a conceptual thought on rest and recovery. Now, let me give you some actual schedule and some actual recovery ideas that I have, and then kind of my difference between an active recovery day and then a true non-active recovery day, and how often I do those things. So right now, like I said, my goal is to just be getting better at jujitsu. It's to be getting tougher. It's getting ready to compete. And that is both a physical and a mental fight. And so you have to pay attention to both of those things. So often we're trying to compete and we want to be tougher. We want to be tougher. We want to be tougher. And a lot of times to be tougher, we have to block out a lot of our mental talk. But sometimes that makes us forget about being mentally healthy, about the jiu-jitsu tournament that I have in 12 weeks, that is not the end of anything. It's not the beginning of anything. It is a jiu-jitsu tournament. And I need to be in the best shape, take it seriously, but I need to treat it as a jiu-jitsu tournament. If I obsess too much, if I focus too much on this thing, sometimes it gives it and my opponents more power than it needs to have. A lot of times it is just much, much easier, much, much better for us to go in and kind of separate ourselves, separate the tournament from the training. And then I can be really cognizant of my mind and my body during the training. For right now, like I am on an off day, like I told you guys. This is what I would consider an active recovery day for me. And that means I may like take a walk. I'm not going to take a walk today because the reason I need a recovery day is because my hip's bothering me a little bit. So I won't do walks. So instead, I will do some stretching and some rolling out. And I think being really rigid, at least for most jiu-jitsu people, I think that is the reason that they don't do things like stretching and rolling out. So often, just like we want technique in jiu-jitsu, even though the idea of the technique is one of the most important things for us to understand, we do the same thing with yoga, and we do the same thing with rest and recovery. We say, well, I need this 15-minute yoga video, and that's going to be perfect for me. And then I will know I'll watch this every day. And we do it for 3 weeks and then we quit, right? But being a little less rigid in that, not lazy, but just a little less rigid and saying, okay, well, I'm going to watch 15 different yoga things over the next however many days, 15 days. And I'm going to just take the things that I like, the things that I feel like are working for my jujitsu in me right now. And I do the same with rolling out. Rolling out to me is, hey, my hip hurts. I am going to roll out the muscles around it. And then I start to notice, there's some tightness in my hamstring too. I will stretch that a little bit. And just being connected to your body, it makes you not have to rely on a YouTube video to tell you how you should be stretching for your specific jujitsu. You know, a lot of times these are yoga people that are teaching us how to stretch, and we're looking at it as, well, yeah, this is perfect for jujitsu. Maybe it's not perfect, right? Maybe it's not perfect for our schedule and our routine. Okay, so now I'll tell you guys my true schedule. So right now, my weekly schedule is, it starts on Sunday. Usually I treat Sunday as a maybe hard training day. And the reason I do that is because a lot of times I'm traveling on Sundays lately. And so it can't be my consistently hard training day. When I can get into Head Nod HQ, I think they have one of the best Sunday open mats in the world. And so I love to get in and I love to train with everybody. But even though it's the start of my week, in quotes, it's really not. And I can be beat up. But regardless, I usually expect on Monday, whether I was competing Saturday or in my mind mentally competing Saturday or Sunday, And, whether I was doing that or not, I usually am pretty beat up on Monday. And so what Monday is now for me is the start of my recovery. Okay. So I take 2 days off now, and this is how I've been doing it. I should have probably said this to the end, but we'll talk through the whole week. So these 2 days, Monday is a lift. Okay. So usually Monday morning, I try to lift weights, and that's my one workout a week. It is a full body HIT workout. My dad has talked about this on the show before. We actually put a little bit of an HIT workout in the How to Learn Jiu-Jitsu instructional, just as one of the bonus clips. And I do my one workout, and then I will play some designated winner with my students on Monday night. And that's why I consider this a recovery day. It's because I'm not going to roll live at all. I'm not doing rounds from the feet. There's no way I'm rolling live on Monday. I'm getting my lift in. And then from the morning, I am now recovering because I take Tuesday totally off. And a lot of times Tuesday, I would consider an active recovery day. How I treat an active recovery day is, like I said, walking, rolling out, things that aren't going to get my heart rate up a bunch. Sometimes if I feel really good and the weather's nice, I'll do a bike ride or something like that. But I don't do anything like explosive or anything that I really think is going to prevent me from recovering. And so, but a lot of times that little bit of blood flow, a little bit of movement is really helpful in your recovery. But then there are some Tuesdays that after Monday, even I'm not recovered at all. And I need like a non-active recovery day. And for me, if, on a weekend for a lot of people, you could take these non-active recovery days where you don't do much. You don't do anything. You try to rest physically as much as you can. If you need mental rest, you don't record any podcasts or anything like that. But you really try to focus on your physical rest in any way possible. For me, that might mean, again, rolling out. That might mean laying in a massage chair, but I won't walk. I won't go do any type of exercise. Usually on an inactive recovery day, I will not diet either. On an active recovery day, I try to keep my diet. But on the inactive ones, I'm kind of just like, okay, I need to take off the diet. I need to take off everything. A lot of times your body is really depleted. Your like glycogen storages are really depleted. And glycogen is what your muscles hold on to. And they turn into glucose in your bloodstream, which is like sugar in your bloodstream. And so sometimes eating a little sugar on your inactive off days can be really good and really helpful for your recovery. So eat a little ice cream on that day. But then Wednesday for me is kind of the true start of my jiu-jitsu week because I just got my rest. Okay. So, on Wednesday, I will go to my coach's gym. We've been doing more positional sparring on Wednesdays instead of hard live rounds from the feet. And I'm just noticing we're getting away from those rounds, even with my best training partners at my coaches where we're training with, where it's like 3 or 4 black belts and we're getting a lot of training together. We're finding that positional sparring is just so much easier on the body. And keep in mind, we're black belts now. So maybe what is working for us as black belts wouldn't work for you as a white or a blue belt, but I think it's worth experimenting with. And so then I actually go to my gym, and that's what we do at my gym on Wednesday nights. I like to positional spar bad positions too on Wednesday nights at our school. And so that really pushes everybody physically, and it keeps everybody really good at dominant positions and bad positions, right? A lot of people that struggle to pass the guard, they're never in side control. And once they finally start to pass, they suck at holding side control. But for us, we do those positional spars. I then on Thursday, I do like morning recovery stuff, stretching type stuff. I've been doing some stuff for my shoulders. I've been hanging. Anyone who has shoulder problems, there's some YouTube videos on like curing all shoulder problems with hanging. And I think that I'm actually noticing some results from it. I have a shoulder problem, but I think I'm actually noticing some really good results from that. And then usually, again, Thursday night is one of I might train. If I train, it's my no-gi class. I don't teach the class. I just get to go in, show up, and train with some of my students. It seems like just A lot of the guys are a little smaller and stuff. So it's just an easier session on my body if I need that. But sometimes I will take that night off completely, or I will replace that with a long bike ride or something cardio based or some tape watching or something like that if I'm just too beat up. But then Friday, I go to Revived where Nick Sanders and Junior are at. And Nick is one of my toughest training partners. So is Junior. But then Junior is also just this really good coach. I've talked about it before. He just sees things really well, and he will put me through just a horrific training session. And to me, this is really my once a week competition. This is an idea that I've stolen from Mark Vives, that when I get him on the show again in August, I'm going to try to record with him. When I get him on the show again, we will talk about, and it should be a lot of fun because he's got just so many good thoughts on schedule. But I will compete that day. And the goal of that is winning for me. Junior is going to put all kinds of obstacles in my way, and I don't have to think about it. All I do is try to jump these obstacles. And so it might be different styles of rounds, different rounds from different positions, just different training partners. He might actually instruct me during a round to do something that might cause the fight to start going again. And so having a day, just a single day where it is your competition versus trying to compete every single day, I really think has helped me mentally, because then I get to notice there are days that I'm here to just learn and do designated winner. There are days that I'm just here to positional spar and be really observant and problem solve and, and do those things. But then as a competitor, now I get this one day a week where the only goal for me is to win. Doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter what I'm thinking. The only goal is to win. And that's what we try to do. And so that's my Friday. And then to Saturday, I go into my, I usually, if I'm in town, I will teach with my dad, but Saturdays are so hit or miss for me anymore because we're always out at tournaments. And so a lot of times Saturday is just me yelling a bunch. If I can train, I will. It's again like a Thursday where I may or may not train. And then we're back to Sunday, which is usually for me, if I'm in town, I'm training. If I'm not, I wish I'm training. Right. And so, that's my weekly schedule. Hopefully that makes some sense for you guys. And again, that is my weekly schedule based on having a podcast and teaching the classes at the gym that I do and being gone a lot to coach or to train and things like that. So that is why my schedule is this way. You guys may have to take into account that you have kids, or take into account that maybe your wife or your husband doesn't like you training as much. And so with that, I think the big things, the big pieces to gather from this episode, I know I went long for a Suckless Saturday, but it's important stuff. The biggest takeaways I think that you should have from this episode that aren't like specific, that are going to be general things that you could just apply. One is make sure that you are paying attention to your body. Make sure you are focused on your performance, right? And then make sure you don't have to perform every single day. I think that idea of performing every single day takes away from what jiu-jitsu is when you're competing. And competing is not performing every single day. It is getting to a single day of performance and getting there in the best shape with the best jiu-jitsu that you absolutely can. And so with your schedule, think in those terms. Don't think in it's just about being tough. Sometimes it is about being tough, but usually that is not your battle. That is not your goal when it comes to this longevity and recovery of jiu-jitsu. Your goal is to be really in tune with your body. If you're in tune with your body, then you can accomplish those things that you want to do. And of course, there are people that can callous themselves to it and say, I will just keep running through. But it tends to go like this. Those people usually are good athletes and good competitors, but they are not the best coaches. Those aren't going to be the people that understand jiu-jitsu the deepest. Sometimes you forget to understand because you're too busy focused on being tough. And so I know it sounded like I was giving like an anti-being tough podcast there, but this is just kind of me talking to me 2 years ago before 2 really bad rib injuries. That honestly, between me and you guys, like there were a lot of days where I thought I would never compete again as an adult, or I would never compete again at full strength as an adult. And just being more conscious of, hey, why are my ribs getting injured? Even those little things, being observant of your body, being observant of your mind, and always making your tweaks, and also roll out a lot. Everybody that does jujitsu that is a black belt that I run into, they just seem to roll out a lot. And so to me, and I've noticed a lot of difference for me. So to me, that means that we should probably do it. But regardless, that's all I have for you guys today. Hope this episode was good for you. Hope it gave you some ideas on schedule. I'm always even more random when I'm exhausted. And so, I might have been random. I might have said I would talk about things and then not talked about them. I'm sorry if I didn't. But this is kind of more just to hold you over. I really think that you guys and myself will get to learn way more about schedule in August when I get Mark Vivas on the show again. I haven't even asked him, but Mark's super cool, so I'm sure he'd be cool with it. That's all I have for you guys today. Hope this episode helps you guys suck just a little bit less at jiu-jitsu. Have a great day, guys. Hey guys, Josh here again. I noticed that the podcast is over, but you are still listening. So you might still be in search of some really good free content that the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show provides. So if that is the case, if you guys are looking for some solo episodes where you can learn more about efficiency and effectiveness in Jiu-Jitsu, I would highly recommend 2 episodes. The first is episode 111, and that is on blitzing. It's this idea of pacing that most people, even black belts, don't think about. And then episode 129 is on designated winner. It is this new training concept that we have been doing at my team. We've been talking about a lot on the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show. I've actually been traveling the country and teaching this training method. And so as we continue to grow the show, I think that is going to be the episode that I push most people to. It's episode 129, designated winner, learning to master the flow. This is kind of the missing piece between drilling and flowing and positional sparring. You kind of get to combine all 3 of those things with designated winner and get the effects of all 3 of those things with designated winner. Also, if you guys are interested, if you're looking for some more deep dives into specific things in jiu-jitsu, you can always go to simplifyingjujitsu.com, where I have all of my instructionals, all of my dad's instructionals, and actually a few from my coach Kyle Watson, my friend Nick Sanders, John Prine, really some amazing black belts instructing you at simplifyingjujitsu.com. Also at simplifyingjujitsu.com, I have a free ebook for you guys. It is called The 3 Lenses. It is the 3 lenses that people look through to learn jiu-jitsu. Most of us only ever see or learn from one of the lenses. And simply by adding the extra perspective of the other 2, you will triple how quickly you get good at jiu-jitsu, especially how well you understand jiu-jitsu. And that is what this free ebook really provides, is a very good way for you to understand the language, understand what's happening, understanding why you are getting better, or more importantly, why you're not getting better. And you can use this free ebook and it will help you diagram what you want to getting to the goals you want to get to. And so that is all I have for you guys. Make sure to check out Designated Winner. Make sure to check out everything that I have at simplifyingjujitsu.com, whether it is free or it is paid. You can also follow me on Instagram at the Josh McKinney. If you ever have any questions or comments, or you want to send a suggestion for a Suck Less Saturday episode, you can email me, Josh at simplifyingjujitsu.com. I read all those emails. Sometimes they get repetitive, so I combine 5 or 6 emails to be a Suck Less Saturday episode. But keep those emails coming so I can keep producing great jiu-jitsu content, and I can keep hearing from the people who actually enjoy the show and want to keep hearing the jiu-jitsu content that I produce. Have a great day, guys. I hope this last little few minute clip helps you suck just a little bit less at jiu-jitsu. Have a great day.